So, I'm Amitabh Shrivastav. I'm a visual artist, art consultant, and a curator. And I'm running a platform called the Art Commune. And I work from Delhi and New York. And recently started working in Middle East also. So quickly, I will run through my profile, whatever executed work I have done so far. So we'll go through that. And then quickly I'll start my session because I'll be covering 3 subjects altogether. So we will be having very less time. And I have one exercise for all of you. So we'll do that also. So basically these are few accolades which I've received in my lifetime so far. And so I started my career as a fine artist. My specialization was applied art, but I never got into applied art actually. I started sculpting, sculptures, murals, because I love 3D objects. So that's how I started. And I worked across genre. I never left any medium untouched. And for me, no dimension is a problem. Like I can work on any dimension, any medium, even if it's a monumental scale or minuscule. So I'm pretty okay with that. This is one of my work. Later I will tell you why I'm showing you all this. This is made up of metal washers, metallic washers. And it is completely hollow from inside. And this is larger than life scale. So it is almost an 18 feet hollow horse weighing 4 ton. And the challenge was every washer has to be attached piece by piece by welding. So there is no mold or cast in this process, but I had to create 2 identical pieces. So that was the challenge. Next. 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 So these are different mediums, mixed media, digital art, sculpture. Next. Next. Go back. Go back, go back. This is again an interesting installation. All of you must have seen spring onion bulb. So this is an exact replica of spring onion. Why spring onion? Because I'm going to tell you about Bionic art. So this is purely a representation of Bionic art. This is made up of reclaimed metal MS strips, and the dimension is 20 feet surrounded by 10 feet each installation. This is installed in Dubai Airport, La Meridian Hotel. Next. Again, this one, what I did is I took the section of the shell and blew up and painted on leather. So this I did it for one of my client in Abu Dhabi. Okay. When I'm saying design across genre, that means I'm not only doing sculptures or paintings, but I did a lot of interiors and restoration projects also. So this is early 16th century project, a mountain resort in Norway. So the challenge was going from India, getting the property done there with all the resources was a challenge. So all drawings and design I did it here. I went there, hired Polish labor, and get all the restoration done. So two of such projects I did it in Norway. Next, next, next. This is again one of the project in Morocco, which I did it. And you can see the local influence in the mural. This is 40 feet mural, which I did. And there's a local influence in that. Next. These are few abstract paintings, which I've done for a commercial project. Next. This is again the same horse which we have seen earlier. Next. Okay, now this is 44 feet mural in a mixed media where I've used wood, metal, glass, different mediums, and I've used different surface, different level of surface. So somewhere I have a depth of 3 feet, somewhere I have a depth of 1 feet. So you can imagine how it's gonna look like. Next. Okay. This one is a mural, 44 feet mural, which is made by recycled material, completely recycled, and the concept was farm to fork. Next. Next. These are a few digital art. Next. So, all of you must be knowing about Abhinav Bindra, the lone Olympian gold shooter. So he brought this brand Pizza Vito in India, and I created his whole branding campaign design for his brand. This was 4-5 years back. Next. Next. Then I used to do a lot of community art projects. So we do painting on wall, painting on road, exhibitions. Next. Particularly this one, I did it when this Nirbhaya rape case happened. Just after that, this was my work which I showcased the atrocity, the pain, the anger, which was showcased in my work. Next. So, this project is in Dharamshala. It is ITC Fortune Park, just like ITC Fortune Park Haveli. So, I did design to build project. So, right from designing it to handing over, me and my team, the whole team, we did this. Next. So Manjari, I was saying we have something in common. So you work on calligraphy, you work on scriptures. I'm a person of metal casting. So you can see this. Next. Next. These are few installations made with ceramic plates and wall mural. Next. This was interesting, very interesting story behind this. There's a brand called Planet Hollywood in Vegas. So they started their resort in Goa, the second property out of US. And I was the designer for the whole resort. So imagine Planet Hollywood and Ganpati sitting behind, sitting in the middle of Planet Hollywood. Just imagine, so cute. So since client wanted that I should have a Ganpati of larger than life scale, So I did it in black marble, a single piece weighing 8 tons. So this is placed over the water body, but rest of the whole environment, the whole ecosystem is Planet Hollywood. It's saying Hollywood, Hollywood, Hollywood. Next. Like this, you can see their counters, all the Hollywood actors. Next. Then every room of this resort is one movie. For example, one room is Titanic, so one room is Spider-Man. One room is Godfather, so one room is Bend It Like Beckham. So it's just like that. Next. 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 So these are all rooms of Planet Hollywood. It's an interesting property. Next. Next. So, Fame is the nightclub of that particular property, Planet Hollywood, which was inaugurated by Gauri Khan. And we worked together in this project. So she was also the designer. So I had to actually literally give up my 50% of space. Okay, come and design. Next. So there we have Wall of Fame, like you have Hall of Fame in Hollywood. So we have Wall of Fame. Next. Their pre-function area, their banquet area, we have created like a cinema paradiso. So, next. Now, these are two, shot 7 and the next one. Show me the next slide. Movies.com. Earlier. Go back. Shot 7 and movies.com. These are two digital entertainment platforms. So I have created the whole environment and the wireframe system of these digital platforms. So they showcase all movies online. So movies.com is about long length full feature films, and Shot 7 is about short movies. Next. Certificates. Next folder. So you must have seen right from sculpture to painting to graphics and digital platform. So from 2000 to 2008, I was doing this. Running across genre, working across genre. And after that, I thought, okay, let me give it a thought that what I'm actually doing. What am I doing? So I took sannyas from, all these activities, and I dedicated my art to the sustainable development. I dedicated my art for public art. So after that, I started working on public art domain. Every art should have a social message, a strong social message, where, I can contribute to society, and in a way, it will help the whole system to rejuvenate in its own. So I'm a member of Authors Association, so I write also. Next. I presented my paper in Imperial College of London, where I discovered Khajuraho, all the images in Khajuraho has a sacred geometry behind that, and we call it yantra. So it was that. Next. So in year 2012, I was awarded by the mayor of New York by City Council. Next. In 2013 also. Next. 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 खत्म हो गया. Okay. Done. So these were few accolades which, the essence, the nectar of my life so far, whatever I was doing. Now coming back to the core subject, which I'm here for, and I'll be covering 3 subjects. One is design thinking. And I'm sure all of you are design students, right? I mean, from the design background. So, can anybody tell me what do you think about design thinking? Anybody? जब मैं नेक्स्ट बोलूँगा, नेक्स्ट नहीं बोलूँगा, मैं बोलूँगा तो नेक्स्ट हो जाएगा. नहीं, अभी नहीं. Nobody? Front benchers, back benchers, anybody? Please.
You're asking a question of what is design thinking, right?
Can't hear you.
Yeah?
You're not audible.
Sorry. You're asking a question of what is design thinking.
Design thinking. What is design
okay,
thinking?
Great. I'm a faculty at UID here. So I don't know if the question kind of works for me, but so for me, I'll tell you from the perspective of a student, what design thinking, when I was a design student, was more of a finding out what is design. Okay, so like answering questions was what design thinking was for me at that point of time.
So I have another question for you.
Yeah.
Next. How do you apply design thinking?
So this is where knowledge comes in. Knowledge of not one subject, but knowledge of many, many aspects. Like you are showing your capacity to kind of go across different mediums and understand different kinds of technology, apply them, solve certain situations, apply your thought process into different mediums. So applying design thinking is also something like that. I have to pick up tools of design. And then only I am able to apply them to something.
Can you sequence it?
Sorry?
Can you sequence it?
I don't know if I can sequence them, but starting
process-wise. Process-wise, can you sequence it?
Process-wise, first I say is knowledge. I think picking up an understanding of what I'm trying to do. Let's say, for example, if you want to make a sculpture of a horse, like you did. So I have to first figure out how is a horse? What is a horse looking like? Then next part is, okay, if I have to make it in metal, then picking up the entire process of how to make it in metal, what is metal, which metal might function, where am I going to put it up, how big it is going to be, is it going to face the rain and the sunlight and everything. So it's a whole
research.
Yeah, it's a whole research which has to be done for that particular problem. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Very good. So coming back to what is design thinking, actually design thinking is a process, you are correct. It's a problem-centric, a user-centric problem and its solution. So basically it starts with the observation, it starts with the knowledge, it starts with the perception, what exactly your client wants, what is his current challenges, what is his current scenario, situation, difficulties. See, each and every problem cannot relate it to design thinking, but only wicked problem can be addressed to design thinking. So, next. Okay. So, when can design thinking be helpful? So usually what I have observed, while visiting a lot of institutes and colleges, the moment your instructor, or for example, if you do commercial work, the moment your client tells you something, okay, I want this, something like this, you start going, online. You start so-called referencing. You try to get reference image related to the subject. And that is the moment your thought get influenced and you're not being remained original. The thought, originality comes with the thought of your first-hand thought, not by influenced thought. So, for example, if we talk about the principle of design, line creates shapes and shape create form and form create design. So, if you close your eyes and if you visualize that what exactly your client wants and how you are perceiving it, that is the first imagery, that is the first visual of original design, you get it. And after that, you start doing, fine-tuning it, improvising it, and you're trying to get into finer details to it. And I'm not against digital environment because, after that, at the time of research, correctly said that what kind of metal, what kind of resources, what cost, whatever facts are involved in it, you have to research it, and for that you have one device to just get into it. So the role of digital environment come in that particular moment, but not at the first deciding or visualizing moment. And this is the difference where we lag behind in terms of originality of design. So why to just cut, copy and paste job? Why? Fundamental of design is same, only the application changes. When I know that how I can create shape and structures and forms and what color I want, I can apply it anywhere. So if I paint, I can design a restaurant also. But there is a finer nuances related to that you have to learn, because there comes the specialization factor. For example, if any designer is an interior designer, she knows how to create a 3D render. Or an architect, he knows how to create a drafting pattern, drawing on AutoCAD. But a generic or a commercial artist cannot go to that extent, but concept-wise, intent-wise, he can work on that. So that was my learning process when I was doing project to project and going places to places. So that kind of exposure, I got it. Next. So the concept is to design the design of design. This is very interesting statement. Design is to design the design of a design, where the design is a concept and a policy. And in this segment, design is an activity. And here, the design is a plan on intention. And here, the design is the finished outcome, the result. So noun, verb, noun, and again noun. So the whole concept of design revolves around this. Design is to design the design of a design. Next. So these are the process involved in design thinking, first to understand, observe, point of view, ideate, prototype, and test. In a nutshell, you have explained everything, but in detail is this. Next. So, I have segmented it in 4 phases. So, the most important element where you start is empathize. You know, you have to be in your client's shoe to understand his psyche, to understand his situation. Then only you can come up with your own solution. So it starts from understanding and observation. Then you, after knowing that, you reframe it your point of view. So the process of sharing and synthesizing point of view happens here. Then explore. The third segment is explore, where you initiate with an idea and you create a prototype of that idea. And during the stage of prototype, 50% of the chances are failure. But failure has to happen. Has to happen because then only you will get the solution. Then only you will get the right solution, that what exactly you are going to execute. And finally it comes to test. So whatever you have developed a prototype, it has to be tested. And your client, your people around you, they will evaluate it, test it for you, and you will get the result. So for me, this segment of designing is, first half is evolutionize. Design is an evolving process, and second is revolutionize. So once you are evolved with your design, then only you can revolutionize. Next. Next. So these are the basic process: empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. Next. Empathize, understand the experience, situation, and emotion of the person who you are working for. Observe users and their behavior in the context of their life. Engage with the people in conversation and interviews. Ask why, how, and when. Watch and listen. Ask someone to complete a task and tell what they're doing for you. So that's how you will gradually get your kind of result with your kind of effort. Next. Define. So process and synthesis. Process and synthesize the findings in order to form a user point of view that you will address. User, develop an understanding of a type of a person you are designing for. Need, because every project is need-based. Whether it is a situational based or emotional based, but it is a need-based. So, and the most important thing is insight. So express insights you develop and define principles. Next. The process of ideation. Focus on the idea generation. You translate problem into solution. Explore a wide variety and large quantity of ideas to go beyond obvious solution to a problem. Creativity. Combine the unconscious with rational thought and magnitude. Imagination. So what I was telling you, that in first instance, whatever you visualize, that's your rational thought process towards your designing initiative, and then only you can justify your concept. Separate the generation and evaluation of the ideas to give. And group synergy. So group synergy gives you the real picture. Maybe whatever you are visualizing, you are thinking that, okay, it's going to work. But with the expert or with the people who are technical, they can guide you at certain level and points where you can see whether it is working or not. Next. So here comes the prototype section, where build to think, a simple, cheap and fast way to shape ideas so you can experience and interact with them. Start building. Create an artifact in low resolution. This can be a physical object or a digital clickable sketch. Do it quickly and dirty. You know, if we relate our time of art education, everything used to start with pencil sketching. We used to do still life, we used to go to stations, railway stations or riverfronts, and we used to sketch endlessly. We used to capture moments, we used to capture gestures, we used to capture expressions. And that's how we used to get our lines clearer and clearer. You know, according to Picasso, if you can express anything with the minimum line, you are there. Next. Test. Ask for your feedback on your prototype. Learn about your user, reframe your view, and refine your prototype. Show. Let people use your prototype, give it in their hands, and let them use it, listen to what they say. Create experiences. Let them experience it, how they feel about it. For example, even prosthetics, artificial limbs, they are also beautifully designed, but they have a certain testing parameters. Whether the user is comfortable while using those products or not. That is a test. Any medicine, before coming to market, it goes for a clinical trial. Trial 1, trial 2, and trial 3. Then only it comes to you. So it's a testing process. So why can't we have a testing process in our design system? Next. So we are talking about design in a broadest meaning. Next. So design thinking is a user-centered approach to problem solving. This is the shortest definition of design thinking. Next. And the key elements are people-centered, highly creative, hands-on, and iterative. People-centered, you can start from what people, user, customer, consumer need or want to do. Their motivation and the problem they are trying to solve. Empathy is the key. It's not about you, it's about them. Always think, if you are designing something for yourself, so you are the client to yourself. But if you're designing for somebody else, you have to empathize the client. Next. So, design thinking stimulates you to look at the situation differently and come up with a new solution that go beyond and improve existing alternatives. Integrative thinking is a key. You need ability to look at all different aspects of a problem. Now, the situation is when you are ideating, if you have one idea, you have to have one more or so many ideas. You know, you shouldn't be stopping with just one or two experiments. Think, ideate more and more, come up with more ideas, hundreds of ideas. That will fine-tune your thought process, your visualization, and your final outcome will be clearer and clearer. The picture will get much clearer. Next. Stop discussing and start working. Make ideas tangible. Prototyping is thinking with your hands. Test your hypnotizers. Failure is necessary part of a process in order to succeed. Experiments with a trial and error are the key. So, unless you fail, you cannot have an alternate solution for it's failure. So it's a necessary process. So don't be shy getting failed. Next. So iterative. The road to success does not follow a straight line. The more you are able to loop through, understand, create, learn cycle, the higher chance you have a good result. So this is the relativity with your thought and your hands-on experience. Next. So design thinking, creative, intuitive, emotional is not the answer to every single problem. For some question you will need a rational thinking, spreadsheets, PowerPoint, and valid answer requiring a local competitor. So you have to be comprehensive with all the resources, whether it is online or offline. Next. So this I already told you that design thinking is good for wicked problems. Next. Next. So my question to you, all of you, is what you should remember. So what is your takeaway in terms of design thinking? Ronak. Give mic to Ronak and Mehul. They will answer this.
So, hello, yeah. So my takeaway to design thinking is you don't stop where you think you've reached actually. Keep exploring the paths and details and you will actually eventually get to the right amount of the product you need.
Come again. I can't hear you. Come again. Repeat.
I said my take to design thinking is you don't stop where you think actually you're finished. You start exploring the minute details of each and every part you've put into the product, and then you'll actually find where the problem area is when you actually give it to the user.
And it applies to everything and anything and everything, right? So it starts from your hairstyle also. There's a thought behind your hairstyle, a design thought process. Next. 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 So let me conclude this design thinking with design thinking is a step-by-step process that is repeated over multiple iterations, over and over, again and again, unless you reach to your desired results. Next. So design thinking is about doing. Let's start doing together today. Next. So learn the concept that drive design thinking. Submit your project ideas around user innovation. Identify customer needs and user group. Create a prototype and present your final idea. Get the real-time feedback. So this is the process you are going to follow in your professional life. What has been taught in your classroom is theoretical or whatever you're learning, but at the same time when you leave college and when you start working, so this process you have to follow. Next. So any questions? Because I'm switching to next subject. Mehul? Any questions, any doubt? You are clear? Good. Okay, so no question means I'm happy and you people are very satisfied. So I've been able to explain you so that you don't have any doubts further. So now coming to sustainability, yeah, please go ahead.
Hello. As you said that design thinking requires a problem to be solved or a need to be solved.
Sorry?
So there's supposed to be a need for the design thinking to initiate, right? So if there is no need, for example, so can we not initiate design thinking then? Like, is it only need based or is it just problem solving?
I said if you have a client, so there is a need. If you don't have a client, you are your own client. So need will generate from yourself and you will fulfill yourself. So, for example, let me give you an example. Commercial artists who are commissioned to work for a particular project and artists who create their own work and exhibit and then people see and they buy it. So at the end of the day, art is going to a final client, but the process is different. So in one way, it's need based. In another way, it's other way around. Any more questions?
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. How design system will help in the next revolution of bot economy and automation?
I can't hear you. You're inaudible.
How design system will help in the fourth revolution, industrial revolution, for bot economy, or you can say robotics or automatic?
See, how design will help. That's what you want to ask.
Design system. Since I am also facing the same problem, I'm a UX designer. I'm already having 12 years of experience. Since nothing new is coming in, so we are just following the same patterns and processes. So it's already been automated. So how the new thing, design system, will help us?
See, design system will help us in two ways. One is, when we say fashion cycle, fashion repeats in itself, phases wise. Similarly, in design, it's purely technology based and at the same time your original thoughts. Technology help your thoughts to be driven to certain level to get the desired result. Am I correct? So when that particular technology get obsolete, then the new technology took over. Yeah. And you have to keep up to that level to think in that tandem. Your thought process at A level, but technology goes to B level, then there is a mismatch. Then you cannot cope up. But like in my generation, there were no computers in school. Okay. Now, I think right from beginning, from class 1, 2, they have all the systems. So that is the gap. But we try to cope up and update ourselves to that level so that we can still survive. But if you talk about, I mean, you talk about robotics or AR or VR, AI, you know, everywhere, the brain behind, I mean, the creativity is your original thought process, not automated one. The technology or machine helps you to drive fast, but your own speed will decide where you're going to reach. So coming to sustainable art, may I ask you again if you can talk about, if you can tell what is sustainable art?
You want me to speak about sustainable art?
Yeah.
Okay. This is a new terminology actually. I'm not very conversant with this terminology, but I'll tell you what I understand.
See, this is trolling, huh? This is buzzword. I mean, for last 4-5 years, in every media, in every aspect, it's a fashion to talk about sustainability, sustainability in everything.
Yes.
But the real meaning and the real essence of sustainability has to be there.
Yeah. So, my experience with this word sustainability comes from my classes, my teaching classes. So I had a lot of students who would want to work with sustainability as a theme or a thought process, right?
Okay. Okay.
Now, I'm sure many students here also would do that, would want to like discuss about what is sustainability, and I want to do something sustainable, which feels like more of a contribution to human society. But sustainability, I think, is a bigger responsibility. It is more of a consciousness than an action, is what my understanding is. If I'm actually concerned about sustainability, the first thing is to start at home. Coming to the classroom is a much later part. What do I consume every day? How many, let's say, how many uses I have of a plastic packet before I put it in the garbage and it goes into the landfill is a question where I should start thinking about sustainability.
Exactly.
Than making another product to kind of contribute to sustainability. Making a paper glass to counter a plastic glass is not sustainability in my understanding. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, beautiful example. Thank you so much. Another example is the paper straw we use to drink, cold drink, or okay, you use paper glasses, but you use plastic straw. And can you imagine how much plastic waste we just use and throw? So, alternative is not that we should come up with a paper straw. It's already there in market. But the thought behind, I mean, the correction should be done in your mind, back home. So, if we can change ourselves, then only we can change the other person and vice versa. And we can change the society. So, sustainability in art related to social justice, ecological balance, and micro-level democracy. So these are a few points. Sustainability can be defined in various ways, but it is commonly understood as a process or a state that can be maintained at certain level indefinitely or relating to the length in which human ecological system can be expected to be usefully productive, whether it is desirable to continuously maintain a process at a certain level remain questionable since might be lead to entropy. Next. How can we define and understand sustainable art and culture? How does art address the sustainability of culture? How can art practice itself be sustained? Next. So, as you said, rightly said, there has to be a complete harmony. We know yoga is in thing. We know meditation is in thing. Mind, body and soul, total control over mind, body and soul. But how can we do total control over, or how can we create a complete harmony over our social system, our practices, which we start from our home? Next. So, you all must have seen this installation is happening there. The idea is, the word is umbrella. You know, umbrella like a protection. So, the important aspect is the material we are using is recycled. At the same time, we are conveying the message that switch to bicycle, stay healthy. At the same time, say no to pollution. So you are addressing multiple issues: social issue, health issue, environmental issue. So that's what the harmony of sustainable art is. Next. Yeah.
In today's world, is sustainability an anachronism to today's world?
Sorry?
Is sustainability an anachronism in today's world? Because everything you're doing is anti-sustainable, but we're promoting sustainability. We want to move faster, we have faster cars, we consume more fuel, but we talk about cycling, which many people don't do. We talk about not using plastic, but we have so much of takeaway. We talk about saving paper, and all the e-line, e-commerce people are only contributing to garbage. So in today's world, while we talk about sustainability, we are just doing the opposite of it. And there seems to be so many practices that are actually,
I got your point.
Yeah.
At least we have started speaking. At least. Just recall 20 years back, how many people were talking about sustainability? How many people have sensibilities to sort their garbage? So there is, I know exceptions are always there. There is a segmentation of the society, but I'm talking about the masses. But the kind of revolutionary thoughts, and with the help of media, with the help of active volunteering, this can happen. Like Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. I'm not getting into political discussion, but at least somebody started, doing something. And maybe 20% or maybe 10%, we got the result. But that 10% is substantial. We have to think about that particular 10%, that we have to, how we can increase that ratio. Because I said sustainability is in fashion, but it has to be in deeds also. So there are so many conferences, symposium, seminars happening about sustainable development, sustainability, but the real practice. Okay, let me give you one example. Art policy was drafted in 70s, but not properly implemented till last year. The new commission, Delhi Urban Art Commission, they have redrafted the old art policy and starting implementation and putting pressure on the stakeholders to act upon it. For example, every government project, public sector project, they must have 1 or 2% of their project costs dedicated to art and culture, for public art too. So it was there since long, but never practiced. But now the pressure is on. They have to do it. So, for example, I was working with one of the government hospital in Delhi. It's a Delhi government hospital, big hospital, 450 crores project hospital, liver hospital. I mean, uh, world's biggest liver university. So the commission is putting pressure on hospital management that they have to implement this 1% of policy, and they have to do it. So unless and until somebody is there to, with a whip, people are not going to move ahead. So there has to be some kind of penalty system if there is a lapse. So it is happening. Not substantially, but it is happening. Go back. Next. Next. No. Next. Next. Okay. Another example of one of my installation, it is happening right there. And this is a miniature of that particular project, but I'm doing it in much larger scale in India-Bangladesh border. So this is Turitola shell. And next. So I took inspiration from that shell, the contours. Next. You can see. So you can, I visualized a passageway, a walkway. So this particular project where I'm using the travelator inside this tunnel. Text like this. So I'm addressing my bionic concept, my environmental issue. I'm not doing just any other art installation. It is giving a message, and the concept I'm using is sustainable. Next. 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 Okay. This is one of my installation in IIT Delhi metro station, where I've used actual motherboards, PCB boards. So I'm addressing how to use or recycle e-waste. So it was not a very difficult task. Nehru Place in Delhi is the place supposed to be one of the biggest computer market in Asia. But at the same time, they have all scrap dealers, kabadis. They sell e-waste. And I easily got truckload of motherboard. So I used this motherboard. Reason being, this is IIT Delhi metro station. So it has to have a tech element into it, but I have to convey my message to recycle e-waste. And these sculptures are made of reclaimed cast aluminum. So these are all students, those who are, rising up on the basis of tech background. So that was the concept behind this IIT installation. Next. This one is Pankajini. Pankajini means the lotus pond. Can you see that? So, lotus pond. This is in Indira Gandhi Airport, Delhi. And the size is around, on one side 280 feet and another side is 265 feet. So you can imagine the size of the wall and the size of installation. So there I've used all scrap metal washers, perforated reclaimed metal sheet to create this installation. Next. This is the material. Next. On the other side of the same wall, we have around 250 feet of galaxy. Next. This galaxy is made of this metal trough. These metal troughs are used in construction site, you know. So I used it other way around, inverted, hand painted, and made galaxy out of it. So all the metro sites, they have so many construction leftovers which can be beautifully utilized in shape of art installation. So that was my message to all metro authorities, and they've very well taken to it. Next. Thank you.